For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Nomae. How's it going today?
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you. I've been listening to your music all day. I didn't realize when I first started looking through, I didn't realize all that music was released this year.
Yeah.
You've had a really busy 2021, and I'm excited to jump into it and, just kind of get to know more about you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely been a busy year. It's been nuts.
Hey, that's great, though. Like, considering all things considering the fact that you're releasing music and able to get out there and do your thing, that's amazing. So
Thanks.
Before we kind of jump into all the music you've been releasing and stuff, let's kind of take a step back. What's kind of your background in music? What got you started? Stuff like that.
So I know everybody always says the same thing, but like for always, I've been singing choirs growing up. And I went to school for music for a little bit, vocal performance. It's sort of a roller coaster journey of the different degrees I've gotten. And I've always kind of been a little obsessed, and I've had like this dream of pursuing music as a career. And for the longest time, actually doing this was my biggest fear. So like releasing music as an independent artist and writing my own music was like, well, I'm going to do anything but that. I want to do music, but I want to try this avenue and then this avenue and this avenue. I kind of landed on this now. And I was terrified, but it's not as bad as some may seem. But no, I'm really excited to be like fully pursuing it and all in these days.
Nice. So you're 100% music, full-time music?
Full-time music and full-time mom. So nice. I have like 12 jobs, but yeah, full-time
That's
music.
Awesome. That's awesome. We'll kind of jump into the music here in a minute, but as you were kind of growing up, who were you turning to for inspiration? Who was kind of helping you on your musical journey?
Okay, so that's a long answer.
We've got time.
My dad was like into smooth jazz and doo-wop. Okay. So, and like I was in choir, so the harmonies and that kind of thing, like I love that. And my mom was like the one that was into the Beatles, but she was like, not, all the Beatles that we love, like the cool Beatles. She's like, no, I like the pop Beatles. Not like when they started doing drugs and stuff. So she was adorable. Nice. But yeah, so kind of a lot of different influences just in the home. But, and then, I went like in high school, I sort of had deep dives into a lot of different phases and genres. There was a metal phase.
Nice.
And like any emo music, so if you know Rilo Kiley, like emo, female vocalist, Jenny Lewis, I like listen to that every day in high school.
Nice.
Like a lot of different bands. Just, I went into different worlds of music and just like letting my ears hear all the different things and finding out what I really, really loved. And then I had some time away from music, me trying to like not pursue my dreams and trying to avoid the inevitable. And I like literally didn't listen to music for a couple years. And then I eventually couldn't stand it. And here we are today.
Gotcha. Hey, that's fair. So you said you listen to all sorts of music. Do you ever see yourself doing like a weird side project of like death metal or something like?
I don't see that. No. I think that was, I don't know, that was high schoolers being high schoolers. But I appreciated the like what are some bands like Cradle of Filth and Slipknot? It's like, oh, interesting. These bands exist, but like, we're not going to go back there.
Okay. So you're going to kind of stay in your lane of music, or that's even a really weird phrase to use, but
I know it's so subjective and it's so broad. Yeah, my lane, that's an interesting topic, by itself, but I'm kind of working with different producers and different teams. And so with each sort of project has its own sound. And sometimes I'm the vocalist and sometimes I'm not. But if I'm the vocalist, like at least there's that consistency and sound. But yeah, anything I've released thus far is pretty much in the singer-songwriter or pop land. I actually have a lot sitting on my computer yet to be released that I'm excited about. And I've been having this more moody, folky thing happening, which is exciting.
I guess we'll jump into Magic because that's the most recent single, and as I was kind of setting everything up, I just kind of had it on randomly, and I really appreciated kind of the funk element that I was kind of picking up in there, like the funky bass.
That didn't really come from me. That came from my producer on that song, Chris Sanchez, who is a genius. But
it was really cool, and I was like, oh, this is different. I enjoy this. So
thanks.
So you've released, I believe it's 8 songs so far.
I think
year?
7. I haven't counted in a minute, but I want to say 7.
7. Yeah, that sounds right. What kind of spurred the idea of just now all of a sudden to start releasing music, and what was kind of the tipping point for all that?
I'm a total nerd and this is so dorky, but like as William Wallace says, like freedom. I tell people like I've been a musician in hiding for years, and it really had everything to do with mindset and kind of giving myself permission to just go and do it and not be afraid of making mistakes along the way. And, if I don't start now, how am I going to start? I'm not going to become perfect and then be able to start music. So, it's really been a breakthrough in mindset. COVID and a lot of time at home and doing absolutely nothing also helped, because I just dove into different groups and different classes and learned a ton about writing, about production, met a great network of people who I'm continuing to work with now. And so it was an interesting time in history that I just wonder, like, had this never happened, would I have done this, and I feel like a lot of people can echo that. Like a lot of people have had little transformative things happen in the last year or so, or two.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's been, I've heard not that same exact story, but a lot of people that said, well, I've had no choice. Like it's either sit at home and do nothing, or I've been playing music for 15 years, try and do something with it. And that's,
and once you get in your 30s, you just stop caring what people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just like, I'm going to make music because I want to, and I'm going to hustle, and I'm going to constantly do this. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. Go somewhere else.
That's exactly what I went through back in December. My buddy and we started doing a radio show, and it was just like, I don't care. Like
nothing to lose.
Yeah, pretty much, other than my time. But it is what it is.
Well, that.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting that you brought up the last year and a half, I guess it's been, and just like the transformative nature that it's been for a lot of people if they were willing to kind of take that time to do something.
Yeah. I mean, for a while we went on a lot of walks and gardened and things like that. And then after a minute it was like, what do I want to do with my life? Yeah. And the answer has always been music. And so, I finally just leaned into it, and I'm really excited about the community of people I've gotten to know, fellow creatives sort of going after the same thing. So,
so this year you've released 7 songs. I think we've decided that that's what the total's been. Did you set out with the idea of doing like a song a month, or did it just kind of end up working out so far to be like that?
It's funny. I actually, a couple years back, had this idea of like doing an open mic night or like playing or inviting people to my house to like do music or whatever. And I was like, what's manageable? Like I'll just do, and I was just washing dishes one day and I was like, once a month, like, let's just see. I think this is like 2018 or 19 or something. Like, let's just see if we can do once a month. And I think for that year, maybe we did, I don't know, or something close, but, or maybe more than that, than what was expected.
Yeah.
But it was kind of accidental. So I was just releasing music on like when I wasn't overwhelmingly busy, and it was like, oh, I should probably release something now because I have a bunch of songs on my computer.
Yeah.
And then it worked out to be about that. And I was like, and I just thought back to the past of like, oh, how funny. Like I once said once a month, and maybe I was accidentally talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this group of songs, are you ultimately working towards an album, or do you just kind of see it as doing singles, or like what's kind of the plan as you move forward through the rest of the year?
So we are working in different genres, making music for sync licensing. And so not everything fits in a catalog together, and other things do. And so it's actually been an interesting question I've had for myself. Like, should I sit on these and wait to group them in fives or in an album? But I don't know, maybe it's like my ADD nature of just like, I don't know, get it out there, move on to the next song. Like, let's just keep going, keep the momentum going. And so there's a lot of new music happening. Yeah. And I think at this point it is happening faster than I'm able to release it. So maybe that is in the future, like an EP or an album. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, no, it's 100% fair. It's very fair. So let's, I brought up Magic a little bit ago. Since that's the most recent single, let's focus on that song for a little bit. What's kind of the story behind that song?
Yeah, this is kind of this is like an empowerment song a little bit, but we threaded in a bit of a relationship there. Like, you don't know who the you is. It could be a person, or it's a little bit vague, and that's intentional. But it's more like everything I touch turns to gold, kind of thing. Like, I'm just going to go after it, and I'm making magic. And it's like, I'm an addict, and I've made it a habit, that kind of thing, like all the rhymes. So it's just being on that kind of high of, for me, it's like everything to do with the music industry, and this as my new sort of my passion and my job now, like my life. Yeah. And it's just confidently saying like, everything I make is amazing, and I'm addicted to the creative process, and let's go. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a hype song.
Yeah. So is Magic one of the newer songs that you've written then? If it's
no.
Have you been sitting on it a while?
I've been sitting on it for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think when that was. It was 2021. Okay. But I think it was earlier on, like maybe January, February, something like that.
Gotcha. Because I know you'd mentioned that I saw on, maybe it was on your Spotify, that you've been writing a lot that you wrote a lot throughout your entire career, and then you finally decided in 2021 that you needed to get it out. And you said that earlier. Well,
all the like actually produced music is all still within 2021 or 2020. Like, it's still been
gotcha.
Yeah, okay. It's still new.
Okay, gotcha. So that was ultimately where I was trying to figure out, like, how long have you been kind of sitting on some of this music? Gotcha.
So not that long. It's a pretty quick turnaround.
Hey, no, it's perfect. Like, I mean, it goes back to the pandemic, because there was a lot of musicians that just kind of closed up shop, because it's like, oh, well, I'm not feeling creative now, so I can't write music. And then there's other musicians like yourself that was just like, yo, I'm feeling as creative as I ever felt, and just kind of went for it from there. So.
Yeah. And I think all the other things, it's funny. It's kind of the opposite now. Like, I'm very comfortable in my little studio, bedroom studio. And now I got to sort of branch out and learn how to do the other things an artist does. But I'm, I love the process, and I love the learning that I've, already experienced. So we'll see.
You touched on two things that I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about the bedroom studio and like the recording process here in a minute. But you brought up about starting to have to focus on other things that musicians do. Do you see yourself performing live at venues, or do you kind of see yourself doing more just a studio musician and then every once in a while? Like, where do you kind of see your balance at?
Fantastic question. I am, my sort of the way I'm approaching things is, as long as it's not completely overwhelming or, like I'm not going to go on tour. I have 3 little kids, that kind of thing, at least not this year or next year, so kind of yes to both. Okay. Like I'm kind of just holding it loosely and ready to do more of what's working. And so like if performing live starts to work and I get opportunities there and I want to continue to pursue that, then yes. If they don't, and I'm just a studio musician and a composer for sync and that kind of thing, then I'm just sort of hustling in all the angles right now and seeing what happens.
Gotcha. And that makes sense. It's like there's definitely a bunch of different ways to approach the music business. You can get out there and grind it out on the road, be on the road for 6 to 9 months a year. And you can definitely make a living doing that, because I know plenty of bands that do that. They're getting ready to leave there's a few bands that I know that are getting ready to leave to go on tour now.
Yeah.
And they're going to be on the road until next, I don't know, I think February or something, February, March. And they're like, yeah, we just do a 9 month or 6 to 9 month run and we take 3 months off and hit it again. And it's like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, they're amazing. Like people who do that, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then of course, like you have other musicians that can't quite do that because they have other, I don't want to say obligations, but it's essentially what it is. So, so no, it's perfect. And so kind of transitioning over into like the recording process for all this music, were you recording it in your studio in the house or?
Yeah. So everything's remote. And so I'm working with people like in Canada and in Australia and in Mexico. And the US, not to leave that out, but we're just sending stems. So I will usually do the vocal, like we may or may not have a session. If I've worked a lot with somebody, we just kind of do it through text. It's like, here I have lyrics, here's, we'll sing it into the voice memo type of thing. Like we don't have to have Zoom calls anymore. And then we have our process depending on who the producer is and how they like, and we'll just send the stems back and forth and I'll do the vocal and the different layers. And I will usually tune it myself because I'm totally OCD about it and it has to be perfect.
Completely understood. What's kind of your creative process when you're working on music? Since I'm assuming you're still recording and kind of going through that process, but what's your creative process as you like write lyrics, or do you start with lyrics, or do you find it easier to have an instrumental? Like what kind of is your process?
It's always changing. So yes to all of them. So sometimes I'll get an instrumental and I will just use that and top line it. Or sometimes I will be with my ukulele on my porch and I will write a song and I'll like produce it out enough to be like a demo quality and send it to someone, or like a work tape where it's just verse pre-chorus kind of thing. Like, here's an idea for a song. What do you think? And we'll build it together and maybe the instrumentation changes or the chords change or whatever. It just depends on who I'm working with and how fast we want to get it done. Whereas another team, there's 3 of us. And so, we all kind of assume whatever roles. And sometimes one person has a very clear vision of what they want. And other times people want me to sort of take charge. So always adapting depending on the song. The song is the king, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to have you play a song here in a little bit. And I noticed that you were going to play the keyboard. Did you start picking that up as you started exploring music, or was that kind of your introduction? Because I know a lot of people or a lot of musicians the piano is kind of their gateway drug, so to speak.
Yeah. I am kind of a crap instrumentalist, if I'm honest. Like I'm a singer first. No, I've played keys like in church for years. That was like my main thing my main outlet for music, up until now. And, and I think I started real bad and I just got better and better every week or every time I played, as it happens. Mm-hmm. And then, but I like when I went to music school, so seeing like what real piano players are like, I'm like, oh yeah, I always shortchange myself, but yes, I play the piano. Okay. And then just with COVID, like wanting to focus more on songwriting, I feel like the songs I write on the piano they're very different than the songs I write on a stringed instrument. And so my lazy version of the guitar is my baritone ukulele. It's like it's tuned like a guitar. Yeah. So it's not tuned like a traditional tenor ukulele. Yeah. So it's like a baby step to the guitar, but it's still just 4 strings and easy. And I can relax on a Sunday, writing a song. So I'm also pretty mediocre at that. But yeah, uke and piano.
Nice. Hey, like, I mean, I can't play an instrument for anything. So like anybody that can play an instrument, hats off to you. Like, I love it. Thanks. But it's one of those things where it's like in the 4th grade, I tried to learn how to play the cornet and it didn't stick.
Yeah. What's funny is I took piano lessons when I was 7, but like I was a really big kid and I was super tall. Let's just say I was tall. Okay. And the teacher, my old teacher moved away, and then the new teacher started giving me lessons, and she thought I was like 12 and I was 7. And so she was a lot, more strict or whatever. And I was like, no, I don't like piano. And I quit after that.
Wow.
So
that's funny.
That was sad.
I mean, it happens. At least it didn't scar you for life from music.
No, we're good. All good over here.
Yeah. Awesome. So kind of moving forward now that hopefully the pandemic is maybe going away, but highly doubtful. Things are at least starting to open up, at least here in Texas they are. Mm-hmm. And I think so in Nashville. I'm in Georgia, but also in Georgia. Atlanta, sorry.
No, you're good. I have friends in Nashville.
Yeah. Same. I'm so used to talking to people from Nashville that I just automatically default to that's where everybody's
all the music
from.
People.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is or how things are looking in Georgia and Atlanta, but what's kind of the plan moving forward? Do you have another release plan for another single, or what's kind of your plan moving forward?
Yeah, I have to choose what that is. I have a lot of music, like I said, sitting on the computer. In terms of like going out or performing or anything like that, we're trying to do, one of my producers, my teams, my buddy, Anel, we are trying to do like 10 songs before December, and we have 1. So I have 9 songs to finish before December 15th. And yeah, so it's just going to be a writing heavy year, the rest of the year, probably. Nice. And then, playing or promoting or releasing, we'll just kind of take it one step at a time. But you can probably expect a continuous thread of releases from me.
Yes. So since you're actively going through this right now, as you're looking through your catalog of unreleased music, what kind of goes through your mind as you're selecting the next song, or what are you looking for? What goes through your thought process?
I am looking for a common thread, because I don't necessarily want to release a bunch of music under several different names, unless I like find 2 different really strong sweet spots or something and it's very clear as day. But I kind of just want to release it all under Nomae. And so I'm trying to find a consistent thread for like how we got from this song to this song, and how that might lead to future songs. So some of those decisions are easier than others, like releasing the funk pop stuff and like the bubblegum, moments, and how to move, I don't want to move immediately into like dark, moody, cinematic, folk or whatever, just drama music. So it just doesn't make much sense. So
yeah, there's got to be, even though these are these 7 singles that you've released, or any singles that you release kind of moving forward after these 7 that you've already released, even though they're not directly tied together, I completely get the fact that you want them to have at least a common thread. So if later on down the line, it's like, oh, hey, we should probably do something with that.
Yeah. We also have some music in Spanish, so that, how to throw that in, I'm not sure. I think part of it is like, I might have to figure out how comfortable I am, kind of breaking the rules, so to speak, and I actually have a lot of artist friends who feel the same way. Like everybody says that, to be a successful artist, you've got to do one thing and do it really well. But that's just because that's what it takes to market music well and to like promote it well, because it makes sense to consumers. But as an artist and as a writer, like this is an onion. There are layers. And so, we can do not all sorts of things, but we can do a couple things. And, I don't know, I'm hoping to kind of gently break the rules. And if it's an experiment and it goes poorly and my releases that sound different than Magic don't go well, then like we'll take it down and put it under a different name. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm just, like I said, that's what I actually love about being an indie artist is like, I can make these decisions and I can make mistakes and there's nothing's on the line. It's just like, I can make changes as I go and continue to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can kind of morph not morph, but you can kind of weave in and out as you kind of see fit,
adapt.
If you want to start experimenting, like you mentioned that you're in the singer-songwriter pop lane, but you want to start maybe leaning more towards funk and just kind of see how people, like with Magic, you had a little bit more of a funky bass line with it. And if people start responding to that, it can kind of change your path. And then, so yeah, it's always interesting. One other question that I wanted to ask was, over the last year and a half, as you've really been kind of gearing up and preparing to release all the music that you're releasing this year, what have you seen to be the hardest part of everything you've kind of encountered over the last year and a half?
Managing everything, not having enough hours in the day. I know everybody has the same amount of hours, right? But, like I mentioned before, I'm a mom and, so I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So everything's nuts all the time. And, kind of, sometimes I'll get in my own head and be very defeatist and like kind of feels like I'm failing in all the fronts because the house is a mess and the kids need to do something or, it can just get overwhelming, all of the responsibilities, but I constantly come back to like, well, I could not be doing this. And I didn't do this for a really long time. And I constantly wanted it. And so, I'm just grateful that I'm grateful that I get to do music with people that have become really close friends. Somehow I haven't even met in person yet. And I'm like, you're my best friend. We talk every single day. And I obviously love my children. And so I'm just going to, keep it up, stay in the fight. And I just am trusting that consistency and continuing to do this, it's going to pay off. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to keep going.
Awesome. Oh, one thing that I'm always really interested in talking to, but I don't always get the opportunity because there's a lot of musicians that I talk to that once they become mothers, music kind of takes a back burner, It's like, okay, that was what I wanted to do. Now I'm a mother. I need to focus on that. How do you kind of find the time, or how do you balance your time between motherhood and musicianship? I guess.
I am learning. First of all, I wasn't doing much music like before motherhood. So I think that would be different. If I if I was in, other people's shoes and they've done music as a profession, and then all of a sudden they have kids, like I totally understand why that is a big change. And it's like, how do I now do this? but I started as already a mom. And so I just, I don't know, they watch too much TV. Yeah, it is actually, I'm actively learning it every day because I need to decide to not worry about this. If what's in front of me right now is a mothering responsibility, I'm not going to worry about music. If what I'm doing right now is music, I can't be worried about mothering stuff, which sometimes is not always a choice. You know, they'll like run in and interrupt and who knows. But yeah, it's just madness all the time around here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Or you could be sitting there working on music and then all of a sudden you hear screaming bloody murder that so-and-so took my toy, or, you know.
Yes, this happens hourly, I think. No, you know, what's really cool is my daughter is starting to, the 7-year-old, my oldest, is starting to, like, she's become a little music critic, and she'll be like, oh, that, you know, we'll listen to anything. And she's like, that guitar is too distorted, or, you know, and I'm like, who are you, child? So she's super smart, and she actually has like a crazy ear. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, not good enough. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. She's just, if she likes it, then I know we got something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually, my co-host for the radio show, Jeff, his daughter did something it's kind of similar. We were sitting there getting ready, going over our show and whatnot, and we hear her over in the corner, and she's writing music, right? And so she starts humming like a tune.
Yeah.
But it's to the she's humming a Linkin Park song, In the End, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So she's just sitting there like humming a tune very similar to that, and she's just writing verses to this song she doesn't even know already exists. And she gets to the point where the chorus would kick in, and both my buddy Jeff and I, we start singing the chorus, and she's like, hey, I'm writing this song. And I'm like, oh, child.
Well, that one's taken, but keep going.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it was like a happy coincidence, but it was very funny. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's funny. Man, they're smart. Kids are smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she's in it, you know, in the process with me. If I don't wear too much stress on my face, or just, you know, if I don't get too stressed, then it's fine. It's all about like that daily perspective and just managing the worries and anxiety, which is all up here. Like nothing else is going on. It's all up here. So I just got to like decide to get over that. Yeah,
absolutely. Or introduce the kids to Tylenol PM.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. No, that's really cool. Like, and the fact that you're able to balance and know where that line is. Well, okay, music is good to hear, but if something family oriented happens here, I need to take a break from this and go over. And it's really cool that you kind of know where that line is, or figuring out where that line is.
It out. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I am. The other day I was sending vocals to someone, and I did the main takes and I sent them, and I was like, I'll get harmonies to you in like 4 hours after nap time. It's just like I'm working in spurts, kind of in between all the mothering moments.
Yeah. Hey, that's all. And obviously with COVID thing, it makes things even more interesting. COVID and the fact that, is it still summertime? Have the kids started going to school yet?
Here they just started school. Yeah.
Okay.
I homeschool, so we haven't started. We start Monday.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's always been the weird thing to me. Is like, I don't ever remember starting school this early. When I was younger, I felt like it was always that week before Labor Day, which was really weird.
Yes.
Like we go for a week and then we got an extra day off, and it's like, wait, what? So
yeah, it's been pushed up, that's for sure.
Gotcha. So you homeschool, and then there's no chance of them just going to school and not having to worry about them for 7 hours.
Yeah, no, that is a year-to-year decision, and we have committed already to what this year is going to look like, and we will reassess next year, and we will see if I can handle it.
We'll see how that goes. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and jump into the song, because I know we had talked about having you play a song. What song are you going to play for us?
Favorite. This was one of an earlier ones I did with Mo Lochran and Jeff Baggett and Emily. And so, I love the song. It's like a friendship song and just happy-go-lucky. And it's on, like, you can find it everywhere. It's already been released. So
awesome. Let's jump into it.
All right. missing you lately. I know that I drive you crazy. I don't want to say goodbye. I know we're a mess when we're together, but I still think I'm a whole lot better with you. And you know it's true. Through ups and downs and all the in-betweens, you're the one I want to keep. You're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, 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 no matter how it goes. In case you didn't know, you're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, oh, oh. I know you understand, 'cause you love me how I am. You're my favorite, you can just come over whenever. No plans, we can do whatever we do, whatever we want to. We can be ourselves with no apologies. With you and me, it's just so easy. You're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, 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 no matter how it goes. In case you didn't know, you're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, oh, oh. I know you understand, 'cause you love me how I am. You're my favorite. All those fakers, they don't know me like you do. So here's the whole we've been through. You're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, 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 no matter how it goes. In case you didn't know, you're my favorite, oh, 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 my favorite, oh, oh, oh. I know you understand, 'cause you love me how I am. You're my favorite.
Awesome. Thank you so much for playing that song. Sorry, I had to mute myself because
No, you're good.
I was like, oh, let me mute myself before I, say something or sneeze, whatever. But thank you so much for playing that song for us. It's really like it sounds completely different than the Spotify version, but obviously
Yeah.
that's but what's kind of the story behind this song, and why did you choose favorite?
Yeah, I think that this is kind of your typical lockdown, your typical pandemic song, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Friendship, love song kind of.
Gotcha.
So just really understanding one another and being totally comfortable and not having to fake it or work at, just the social anxiety part of friendship. It's just easy when you're together. So
awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but outside of music, when you're not dealing with the kids, when you're not worried about homeschooling and all that stuff, what's a hobby that you have, or like when you need to escape and decompress, what's kind of your thing? What do you do?
That's a great question. I haven't done that in a while.
That's why I had to kind of qualify it.
Yeah, no, I have to imagine what that would be like. Well, I went to art school, and so painting, I haven't done that in years, but if I, if in the future, my kids are grown up and out of the house, I would love to paint again, oil painting and watercolor. Yeah. I have huge canvases that are just sitting in a room because I don't have enough big walls for that. Yeah. And I'm lazy and I need to hang pictures, but yeah, I love to paint, and I don't love it, but I love after I run or exercise. It's free therapy. So I used to do that a whole lot. And then I started doing music, and I'm like, oh, exercise would be nice one day. Yeah. So working out and painting. Nice. I don't know if that's a lame answer or not.
No, it's perfect. And it's kind of funny that you brought up that you wanted to wait until after the kids kind of grew up. and got their own thing going on, because
I don't want them in my oil paints and getting it all over my carpet. Nope.
I was gonna say, introducing 7, would you say 7, 4, and 1?
7, 3, and 1. Yeah.
Introducing a 7, 3, and 1-year-old to painting. That's how you end up with a colorful fridge.
Oil doesn't come out.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, when they're old enough where I can like safely paint, I will do that again.
Nice. That's awesome. No, that's really cool. And then as far as kind of moving forward, you're working on more music. You're kind of I'm assuming you're kind of always writing.
Always. Yeah. I actually told my friend, producer friend, like this weekend, like I got to finish that one song. And if I'm like an overachiever, I'm going to write another song by like Monday. We'll have it. We just have to do a lot really quickly. Yeah. So, usually on the weekends, and my daughter's like, why do you always have an instrument in your hand? Like I just walk around with a ukulele, and she's like, do you ever stop working? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. But it is actually how I relax, is to just sit and like make up songs on the ukulele. So I picked a good job. Yeah. So hopefully that'll happen this weekend. Or I'm cooking and I think of a melody, and I always have my phone and like thinking of ideas. It's constant.
I think it's funny that your daughter picked up on the fact that you're kind of always working and calls you out on it. That's
all the time. Yes. She's like, so when can we like go have fun? And I'm like, I don't know. Most kids are in school. Just hang out with me. It's fine. Just kidding. Everyone watching, I'm a really good teacher and she learns a lot of things. Nobody come after me. Thanks very much.
Hey, I mean, her learning music, that's amazing. Like that's 3 skills in one. That's hand-eye coordination. That's critical thinking. That's creative.
And her dad speaks Spanish. We'll just teach her Spanish. She'll be fine.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. No, that's really cool. So, if anybody wants to check out your music that's already out or any new music that's coming out, where's the best place to do that?
I am most active on Instagram, and I'll like always. There's links on there, so it's nomae.music and. Yeah, it's kind of a made up name, Nomae, Nomae .music.
So since you brought it up, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
It's a made up you said it's a made up.
Everybody does it, by the way. Okay. Everyone has made up names.
You said it's a made up Spanish name, right? Or
yeah, so it has a story. I always say they. I don't know who they are. People in my head, advice, things I read. To tell a story again and again, it's better. It got to be a good one. So I met my husband in Costa Rica. It's a longer story. I'm going to be quick though. Okay. We did not speak the same language. I didn't speak Spanish at the time. He didn't speak English at the time. And his friend Chichi, I've got to send this now to Chichi because he's world famous. We're at a party. It's a study abroad trip. We're painting murals. And he goes, do you want to marry him? And I'm like, hold on. First of all, I don't know you, but also I want to keep flirting. So instead of having a real answer, I just said the very little Spanish I knew, ¿por qué no, mae? Which means, why not, dude? So in Costa Rica, mae means dude, but only in Costa Rica because each country has their own slang, of course, right?
Yep.
So, my name means no dude, and it makes no sense, but it's kind of the beginning of our family, so.
Amazing. I love it.
And then I married him. Like I would never tell that story had I not married him, right?
Yeah.
Happily ever after.
Nice. And you probably wouldn't have given yourself that name had you not married him?
No, definitely not.
No,
but it worked out.
That's going to be a Trivial Pursuit question 20 years from now. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that becomes a Trivial Pursuit question. So that's really cool though. I really enjoy that story. That's funny. And I didn't know, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have either. That it would have happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. But once again, I want to thank you for jumping on. But before I let you go, I do have to ask you the most controversial question in America. Pineapple pizza. Yes.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We cannot be friends if you like it. Just kidding. Do you like pineapple pizza?
No. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I will get tarred, feather, and hung out to dry if anybody ever sees pineapple on any pizza.
Good. We're on the same page.
So yes,
Whew.
we're on the same page. But
Yeah.
you understand. It's great that you understand why that's the most controversial question in America.
Well, I will go as far as to say like fruit on salad. I'm sorry.
Even if
Like
it's
sweet and savory, there are a couple of exceptions, but
because we used to when I was growing, like I was never a fruit salad person, but my grandma used to make like a fruit salad, which was just like a salad,
like a
it was
bowl
like
of fruit.
Yeah, it was,
and then like
that's what we call the bowl of fruit, was a fruit salad.
yes, fruit salad. Yes,
Yeah.
but like green salad with fruit on it. I don't know
gotcha.
who came up with that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah,
perfect sense.
Sorry, world. Shame me.
I had to clarify because we call a bowl of where I grew up.
No, you're right. That is a fruit salad. Putting various types of fruit in a bowl and calling it fruit salad is delightful, but putting strawberries on top of salad makes no sense to me.
Yep, 100%. I'm
just
right
so we're
there
clear.
right there with you. Right there with you. But once again, thank you so much. I'm glad the kids didn't come barging in because that would make for a very entertaining podcast.
Oh, I'm glad we did this late because the husband is on kid duty right now. Yes.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Thank you.
Cool. We are good.